What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're here for a new Madden 24 realistic rebuild of the Atlanta Falcons, who early in the free agency frenzy of the 2024 NFL offseason, the Falcons made the biggest move so far, paying Kirk Cousins over $100 million, coming off a torn ACL, to be the man that operates their offense, to be the man that facilitates an outstanding group of skill position players. Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. You have one of the best guards in football. This is an offense that is ready to go. The boosters have been strapped. You just need that captain that can lead them to the promised land. And maybe, just maybe, they have that captain in Captain Kirk. So before we go any further in this rebuild, I do need to say, if there's any other moves that have been made in free agency that would correlate to a very interesting rebuild, let me know in the comments below. Usually quarterbacks is a big needle mover, so I think you have Russell Wilson going to Pittsburgh. That could be an interesting rebuild. I'll say one thing is, in our main channel Cardinals franchise, which an episode will be out tomorrow, Russell Wilson has been fringe MVP 2 seasons into his late ages. So now you pair that with a cheesy Steelers offense, you could get something there. I think another opportunity right now is Sam Darnold career revival. He is the current starting quarterback in Minnesota. We know Minnesota has a very cheesy sim offense, so that definitely is going to be an environment that Sam Darnold could complete that career revival. But there's any other teams you want to see? I know Philly went out and got Saquon Barkley. I know the Giants made a big-time move going getting Brian Burns. Josh Jacobs going to the Packers. Xavier McKinney going to the Packers. There's some interesting teams and moves that have been made. But outside of the quarterbacks, because we will do the QBs, and, you know, maybe whatever Justin Fields, if something happens to that, I don't know if he's going to go to the Raiders. I don't know. Do the Raiders get one with Garrett Mitchell? I don't know. But let me know in the comment section below which moves in free agency have made a team a lot more interesting to rebuild. And I will go ahead and do it. But we are starting here with Kirk Cousins. And this isn't, you know, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Kirk Cousins got $160 million. So no longer is this Atlanta Falcons team operating as a team that has a rookie quarterback contract. So it could get stingy. The budget could get real tight, and added a lot more challenge to this rebuild. Because as you can look at it, well, one is Kirk Cousins is pretty much at his ceiling. He is going to be the highest. We might get the dev trade to go up, which would be nice. Maybe slows the regression down just a little bit. But for the most part, as an 84 overall, that is going to be his ceiling. And he's only going to go down. So our window to win is not that, like, you know, we're going to be here for 5 years. I don't even know if we'll probably be here until Kirk Cousins retires. But this might be a rebuild. Even though it's a 5-year rebuild, we only have a 3-year window before Kirk Cousins is done and dusted. We definitely need wide receiver help. Big time. That is one of our biggest needs. On the defensive side of the ball, need a 3-4 end. Really, the whole front three could get retooled, as Grady Jarrett and Onyemata are up there in age a little bit. The linebacking core, nothing special. The safety room was great. Richie Grant can continue to develop for us. Jesse Bates is a dog. AJ Terrell is a dog. But we probably need 2 new starting corners. And we got to redo the front 7. We got to redo the wide receiver room. It's not going to be easy. So we're going to try and, you know, do some modest moves here. We're going to try to go get Jeremy. I'll tell you, if we get Jeremy Chin, he's going to be a linebacker. We did not get him. He went, oh, wow. So we get Laviska Shenault, 25-74, has some upside. We're going to see if he can be a gadget player for our offense. Christian Fulton, if we land him, he is just depth corner, a Band-Aid. Both these guys, 25, gambling that they can find another gear here in Atlanta, but not a crazy free agent period with players that are available. Obviously, I don't want to sign anyone that's signed IRL. And we didn't have a crazy budget with just over $30 million of salary cap. So we're going to need that salary cap to roll over, especially now that we're dealing with the big contract of Kirk Cousins. And we're just going to have to do most of our damage here in the draft. And this first draft, with our top pick, edge rusher, wide receiver. Wide receiver could be a big one. You know, if a Rome Odunze, Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably going to be gone, but if an Odunze and Malik Neighbors is still there, I believe we're picking at 8. That could be very interesting. If a top corner is still there, Quinion Mitchell, Terrion Arnold, that could be interesting. All right, big time. Wait here for the draft. Pick them within the top 10. And this is probably, if things go well, wow, Caleb Williams falls to tight. Things go well. This is probably going to be the only time we pick top 10 in this rebuild. And looking at the board, man, oh man, there are some QBs available. We didn't want to rock and roll. What a roll that we got here at pick 8. But I don't think we got to look a lot further. We got Neighbors. We got a Dunze. I think we probably should be going Neighbors here. That 4.34 speed, undeniable. Elite athlete, deep threat. Plus, I've used Roma Dunze and rebuilds before. We've never used Malik Neighbors. So let's go get ourselves an before we pull the trigger, where else in terms of needs, right? We need a D-end. But do we need a D-end? It'd be nice to have a D-end. Jared Verse could come in, and you know for a fact he'd be an upgrade over Arnold Ebiketie. Even though Ebiketie, from a Madden standpoint, does have a dev trait, Jared Verse has a much higher ceiling. And the pass rush is a problem. And the argument for going wide receiver in Malik Neighbors is that he's going to be a wide receiver too. And is this going to be an offense that can facilitate 2,000-yard receivers? Or are we just going to try to get a role player because we have Drake London? And the idea is that we're going to have Drake London long term. Jerson Newton, Byron Murphy, both would be day one starters, as that front three that we have right now needs to get replenished immediately. Chop Robinson could be good value. There's corners. We got literally our pick at corner. You know what? Honestly, I was going to go wide out. I feel like pass rush is where we need to go. I feel like at the end of the day, just eliminate the names from it. Because, Verse could just as easily go to 8 as, say, Malik Neighbors, even if he fell there. But, just edge 1, a guy that's going to be an edge 1 for us, or a guy that's going to be wide receiver 2. And if things go well, he'd be third in command. Because we'll have Kyle Pitts be one of our top 2 guys. With Jake London and Kyle Pitts should be our 2 main weapons. And then our third weapon is Bijan Robinson. And then if we brought in Malik Neighbors, he would be weapon 4, at best weapon 3. Versus a guy that's immediately going to be relied on and counted on as our best pass rusher for the next 5 years. I think we made the right call. All right, hoping someone fell. Brian Thomas, I would have ran that pick up. We got a Donai Mitchell. We got a Georgia Bulldog there, Lad McConkey, who'd be great in the slot. But Adonai Mitchell, after running the 4.3, that could be, a wide receiver in the second round makes a lot of sense to Atlanta. Still looking at where we need to get better. 3-4 defensive end would be a big one. There's just not one available. Do you have a nose tackle in Devondre Sweat? Do we want to? It's just, honestly, Devondre Sweat is just prospect fatigue at this point. Chop Robinson's there, who's an absolute dog. Interesting. Rakestraw at corner. Don't love the corners. I love the safeties that are here, though. Who's who of safeties that are available? How much do we like Richie Grant? I suppose is the question here. I think we have so many holes that Richie Grant being a dev trade, even from a Madden perspective, we need more starters elsewhere that we can pivot. We have Rakestraw at corner, A-Press, B-Zone, ran a 4.5, elite strength. We need corner, even though he's not my favorite player. Chop Robinson, the value is there. But again, are we giving up on Arnold Ebiketie right away? And I think we need to up that combine just a little bit. We're going to 4.4. Peyton Wilson could play middle linebacker. That'd be a good get. Man, this is tough. But you know what? Because we were so heavily considering wide receiver early, in fact, we got a Donai Mitchell, who's a legit burner. 6'4", height, weight, speed. Might even get more speed. I think wide receiver 2 in the second round. It's a lot more easy to digest. Getting Jared Verse and Mitchell versus would have been likely we would have went Malik Neighbors and Chop Robinson if we had to do a different way. I think I'm happy with option 1 here, scenario 1. We handle business in this draft, especially later on. Mid-round, we got to it. This is actually probably one of my best draft hauls that I've got from Bengals draft class here. In the first round, we hit on Jared Verse, 76 hidden dev pass rusher. He's going to be a day 1 starter for us. Likely we'll supplant Lorenzo Carter, so we'll go with Jared Verse and Arnold Ebiketie as our top 2. We got a Donai Mitchell in the second round, 75, hidden dev, deep threat, who's going to walk and be wide receiver 2 on this team. We'll move Laviska Shenault into that slot gadget type role. I got Jerry Jones, 72, nickel corner out of Florida State. Might have a chance to start. I got Mason Smith, D tackle out of C. Maybe not the best base rating, 69 normal dev, but not brutal. In the 4th round, though, double dev trade. First, we got Bucky Irvin to come in and be RB2 behind Bijan Robinson with the hidden dev there out of Oregon. And then we got the man with the biggest arm. And I figured at worst, it's not a bad idea to get a developmental quarterback behind Kirk Cousins. And there's maybe no more of a developmental quarterback in this year's draft class than Joe Milton, who has 98 throw power. Everything else is a work in progress. He's a big-time athlete, but has a long way to go. And it's one of those guys that, like, if you told me, has to move positions at some point to stick around the league, I would believe it. But he is undeniable, elite, ridiculous arm talent. Maybe even more so than like a Tyree Jackson back in the day. So a fun little developmental quarterback to sit behind Kirk Cousins. We got Jermaine Burton, 73 in the 5th round. And we finished up with Braden McGregor to Michigan, 70 defensive end depth in the 6th. So pound for pound, one of my strongest drafts we've had in 2024. And a good start to put some nice weapons on both sides of the ball around Atlanta with their new, we're to say franchise quarterback, but the quarterback of the franchise now, I guess is the best way to put it, in Kirk Cousins. All right, so while we were recording this, free agent frenzy still going on in the background, the Falcons signed Darnell Mooney, who back in the initial wave of free agency was probably the best looking wide receiver in terms of upside. We went with Laviska Shenault, so to just keep this as realistic as we can, and this is probably our last jump off point before it's the point of no return, I sent Shenault to, Mooney re-signed with the Bears. So we sent Shenault to the Bears. We're bringing in Darnell Mooney, and we're going to try and replicate what the Falcons look like IRL, as long as they follow my epic draft. So unfortunately, 3-1 is a hell of a start. Kirk Cousins' era in Atlanta is great, but we are coming off a loss. But we did get a breakout scenario. Helps that we have a lot of, it's Jared Verse. I was thinking of someone in the middle linebacker spot. It is Jared Verse, who based off of these numbers, he is just a star dev, which is fairly reasonable dev trade for him. But if he can get a superstar dev week 5 of his rookie campaign, that is going to bode well. Strapping the Rockets to the moon. We got the breakout scenario. It's going to be tough. We got the win. It's always tough for DNs to get those dev traits. Unfortunately, he did not. But I love the fact that he already triggered a dev trait scenario. It's probably not going to be the last time he does so. So the midway point of year 1, we are 7-3 sitting atop the NFC South. And I don't want to go with a super hot take, but I do think Kirk Cousins probably, as long as he gets back from the injury, which is tough, especially at his age, but I would say Kirk Cousins, given the rest of the roster, probably puts Atlanta near the top of the NFC South, if not outright the favorites. I know the Bucs made the playoffs last year. They brought back Baker Mayfield. They didn't lose Mike Evans, but they've lost guys. Carlton Davis, traded him away. You look at the Saints, again, kind of in that purgatory limbo that you get when you bring in someone like Derek Carr, and Michael Thomas is probably going to be dipping, and you have the regression of Alvin Kamara. I would say generally the Saints are trending down. They lost Ryan Ramczyk, outstanding offensive line. There's some of their best players are veterans, like I said, Alvin Kamara, Cam Jordan could drop off. Like there's an argument to be made. Falcons now with Kirk Cousins probably should be pretty damn good next year. So 7-3 is a great representation of that. Looking at our contracts, we have $29 million available, and almost all that is going to go towards keeping A.J. Terrell for the remainder of this rebuild. With $12 million remaining, Richie Grant has no interest in coming back. Pause. Drew Dahlman, however, at center. That ain't too bad if we can keep him. Like, you look at that ceiling. What's that ceiling going to be in 5 years? It could be like 83, 84, one of the better centers in the league. So, unfortunately, and I did like Richie Grant a lot coming to Central Florida, we're going to have to let him walk, which has us put a little bit more importance, maybe on safety in this upcoming 2025 NFL draft. Now, just because the Chiefs, anytime you see me against the Chiefs, that's the measuring stick of where your team at. We lost a close one, but at least Kirk Cousins still played well enough to get Player of the Week. Also, you need to give respect to that ridiculous stat line that Pacheco put up against us. 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. God damn. All right, well, we've kind of regressed down to the mean, and we are 8-8, and this is a big one, Week 18. We win, we're in. We lose, we might still be in, but the Panthers are right on our ass, so there's a chance if we lose this one, we just got leapfrogged for the fucking playoffs. Week 18. Brutal! Top 5 offense. Feel pretty good about that. Feel pretty good about Kirk Cousins. But again, as I stated when we started this rebuild with Kirk Cousins, we're not all right with this season because we know we still got 4 more years left. We have the Kirk Cousins prime. Like, we might only have 3. I'm kind of viewing this as a 3-year rebuild. Even though we'll go 5, and we'll have to start the plan. Maybe it is Joe Milton, who has a developmental quarterback. that eventually takes over. But this is a loss. I mean, hell, I would have taken, a 9-8, run the gauntlet with Kirk in his prime over just wasting a fucking full year here. That's brutal. Yep, Kirk Cousins. I mean, hell, he didn't even play that good, to be honest with you. Did not even. The good news, honestly, is like those are serviceable numbers. I don't think for how much money we're paying him, he should be getting less than 30. I know the Falcons have a very good playbook. These are disappointing numbers, but it does help that he has the mentor player tag, which is going to help Joe Milton on his dev trade. Huge year to Bijan Robinson, 1,600 yards, 18 touchdowns. We had 1,200 yards, 7 for Drake London, 8 and 10 for Pitts, 7 and 3 for Mitchell, 5 and 4 for Darnell Mooney. He missed first 3 games with us, so I mean, my numbers might have been even better. On the defensive side, Caden Ellis and Landman over 100 tackles. We got 11 sacks, 11 TFLs for Jared Verse. You love to see that from the rookie. 4 picks, AJ Chitrell, 3 from Ellis, 2 from the rookie Jerry and Jones. Bates and Clark Phillips also getting on the score sheet. Yearly awards, Dak Prescott gets the MVP. We have Bijan Robinson, top 3 for Offensive Player of the Year. We have Donai Mitchell, top 5 in Offensive Rookie of the Year. Jared Verse wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's on a star dev that likely will be a bump up to a superstar for the talented young pass rusher out of Florida State. Lindstrom wins Lineman of the Year. Bijan was runner-up for Running Back of the Year. Jared Verse wins Lineman. Man, there's a shot Verse. It's unlikely, but there is an opportunity there for a double dev trait. I've seen players get awarded a dev trait for not only winning Rookie of the Year, but a positional Player of the Year. Usually, it's not the case. If you get the double dev, one is based off of their production, and then one is based off of their accolades. But hell, even with 11 sacks, 11 TFLs, that could put him in the area code of dev trait development. But even all that does not remove the fact that this is a wasted year of the very short window I think we have with Kirk Cousins playing at the top of his game. End of the season, not a lot of expectations for dev trait increases outside of Jared Verse. Kirk Cousins did everything crazy. Bijan Robinson did get the bump from superstar up to an X Factor. Lindstrom for getting Lineman of the Year up to a superstar dev. Kyle Pitts maintains his superstar X Factor. I mean, Drake London had a decent year, but again, kind of on the cutoff of like, should he get up to a superstar or not? It's fine. So we are 3 deep with star dev Mooney, London, and Adonai Mitchell. On the defensive side, Jared Verse up to a superstar. So thought we were going to have a shot at a double dev, did not get it. I believe Ellis had a dev trait, lost his. Landman had both those guys had solid seasons for our normal dev players that could have gone up. Again, a lot of normal devs in the secondary in the corner room. Clark Phillips, Jerry and Jones could have gone up dev, did not. So, modest year in terms of dev trait development. All right, so looking at free agency, we're good offensively. Defensively, however, desperately need to continue to reinvigorate that front 3 and did not get a remotely decent role here in free agency, unfortunately. And I guess the 2 best off-ball linebackers that would be interested are looking for edge rusher money. So that doesn't work. Could look at corner, but I think that is more of a direction we want to go and invest with our first-round pick. Didn't make the playoffs, so it's going to be a decent first-round pick. So I think be it a corner or a safety, that is going to be the direction that we look at going. But, hey, for how much we have in terms of salary cap, which isn't great the first 2 years, not the worst thing. That free agency also has kind of been a wet fart. All right, draft time. Now, something that I'm noticing has been a little bit of a trend is every time we've done a rebuild, we've been on about 15, maybe a little less. It almost feels like 80% of the time for my 2025 draft, I need a DB or a D tackle. I don't know how that keeps, because Will Johnson, we've used him. Ben Morrison's still there. I don't know. We have very predictable needs more often than not. There's not much help there on the front, because we do need to get better on that front 3. Anthony Hill's a beast. Will Johnson would be also a beast. I wanted Malachi Starks. Malachi Starks was like the one free safety out of Georgia. So I've used Caleb Downs. I've used Sonny Styles. But a need's a need. Need's a need. Only way to put it. It's a realistic rebuild. A need is a need at this point. We'll go back to the well here with Will Johnson. Knows he's a baller. And if you remember, you probably know what that dev trade was. All right, so safety was their secondary need. And Caleb Downs, I thought he was going to fall into our lap at pick 15. And we're going to have the S-tier draft. And, of course, just too good to be true. Already off the board. So, with that being said, we need to pivot, as always. Best drafts, you can pivot fine and find a way to keep on keeping on. And if that's the case, it's looking like Mason Graham, the very talented D-tackle out of Michigan, is the man for us. No dev. Brutal. Best D-tackle in the nation, no dev trade. Come on, C4. This draft class sucks! All right, so looking at a draft recap, pretty happy with our first 3 picks. The rest of the draft was, more so depth playmakers. And, man, I got to just be with the content, the draft stuff, and pay attention. It's March break, got my kids here. I got to freaking update this draft class. It will be done. It will be done. It's on the list. But until then, we're going to maximize it. Still works with Bengals draft class, so you're all good on that front. We got Will Johnson, and I said it just because Bortolini and Curtis Jacobs both are in 2023. Bortolini tested off the charts as an insane Raz. So, I mean, he also needs to get added into Bengals. It's just, it takes forever to update draft classes. So, please be a little bit patient. But look at this haul. We get Will Johnson, 79 in dev in the first round. He's going to be a day 1 starter on the outside. Mason Graham at D lineman. He's a nose tackle. We got Caleb Banks, very talented first-team freshman, all SEC. 72, only normal dev. So, double normal dev on the D-line, but 2 guys that have a lot of upside. And honestly, are probably going to start sooner than later. And with both of their normal devs and their age, very optimistic we will get a dev trait role. All right, one thing just needs to be said. Kirk Cousins finished last year as, 84, 85 overall. Massive regression at 37 years old. So just even adds that much more validity to how much of a waste last season was. And we got to win this year because if we're getting another 4 or 5 point regression, it's going to be very tough to win a Super Bowl with a 73, 38-year-old quarterback. All right, again, another really good start to the season, but last year we kind of collapsed. Hopefully that's not going to be the same case here in Season 2, which there's a shot, especially with that gigantic regression to Kirk Cousins. This might be our last year if we're going to win one with old Captain Kirk. Up first, we have Kyle Pitts, who we definitely want to try to keep, so you can get him on a low-risk 5-year, 90-some mil. He wants a little more. I think we're close. Some decisions here. Obviously, we'll pick up the 5th-year option for Bijan, but I mean, like, Ellis is a starter. Probably need to get younger at that position. Caleb Gary's a starter. 15 mil is a lot. And I might want to take my gamble of just seeing if there's a younger tackle, and if not, we could offer him this kind of money on the open market. Onyemata is a starter, but we drafted Mason Graham in the 2nd round to be his successor. You got Grady Jarrett. I mean, that's reasonable for an all-time Falcon. We'll get Grady Jarrett to just see if he can retire here. We're close, and we will get Kyle Pitts. I wish Ebiketie, like, that's actually not brutal money at all. 26, dev trait, almost an 80 overall. Very surprised by that contract. Nate Landman, I mean, that's just, gambling that he can get a dev. He can roll and get that star dev. That contract looks great. We should be able to count on him as one of our 2 linebackers of the future. So I think that's how we're kind of going to handle everything. We'll come back to the table again. We're at 48. Probably at $1 million each way. Kyle Pitts will sign, and we'll go into free agency with a lot of money. And in year 2, we win the NFC South 11-6. Still lost 3 of our last 4, which was, prevented us from having an insane record. But all in all, another top 5 offense led by Kirk Cousins. Defense, somehow, top 5 led by Jesse Bates and a emerging Jared Verse. Outstanding. Kirk Cousins was kind of just a guy. 26 touchdowns last year. Gets 10 more. Yards and interceptions are about the same, but I'll take 10 more tutties every day. We got Bijan went off. Obviously, a little bit of discrepancy. That's pretty much what happened. We got a little more production out of Kirk Cousins, a little less out of Bijan, but Bijan is still absolutely incredible. Surprising 4 rushing touchdowns for Kirk Cousins, giving him 40 on the year. We got 1,010 for Drake London, 98 for Kyle Pitts. Great numbers for a tight end. Look at Darnell Mooney with 10 tuds. 8-4 for Mitchell. That's a healthy offense. Everyone's getting the ball. I don't know how many dev trait increases, but I don't think any of those guys did bad enough to lose a dev trait. Ellison Landman there with great tackles. Jared Verse just trying his best in this 3-4 with 15 TFLs, 9 sacks, 7.5 for Grady Jarrett, 4 picks. Clark Phillips, who I moved to safety. We did not replace Richie Grant. We had a lot of depth at corner. I'm a big fan of Clark Phillips, a little bit undersized, and he's made a smooth transition to strong safety. Maybe gets himself a dev trait when all is said and done. I feel like if I know I got a normal dev safety that started 60 tackles, 3 TFLs, 4 picks, 2 PBUs, I'm optimistic he'll be a star dev, which will be a huge good piece for the defense. Look at the MVP. Patrick Mahomes wins it with just getting the sympathy vote. Kirk Cousins barely making the list. That's a little harsh, if I'm going to be honest with you. Will Johnson, runner-up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's fine. He's already on a superstar dev. We don't need to get too greedy. Kirk Cousins, runner-up for Quarterback of the Year. Bijan Robinson, runner-up for Running Back of the Year. Man, I think Kirk Cousins could have done, especially because he's on that normal dev, with an award. Because even if we're going to be hit with that regression, he's 79, 80, I think, right now. Probably going to regress down to, like, let's be optimistic, 76, 75. With a star dev, might help a little bit in terms of that future regression. Hell, he fucking might outright retire this offseason, which would suck. Jared Verse, third in linebacker of the year voting. So not as much individual success, but we do make the playoffs. We do win the division. And it all starts against the 10-7 Seattle Seahawks. Kirk Cousins trying to win continues to struggle. Hopefully we get one more year. It'd be pretty funny doing a whole rebuild just because of Kirk Cousins and we don't win anything and he retires after 2 seasons. That'd be pretty brutal. Oh no, we have a lot of salary cap. This is not good. We have a lot of salary cap. We went from 20, 30 up to 60. Okay, we just got a lot of salary cap. Kirk Cousins running it back for one more year. Again, in my head, I thought 3 years. Now, the bummer is Kirk Cousins leaves the Vikings. Vikings win a Super Bowl here in year 2. It's fine. It's fine. We'll be there. We'll be there soon enough. Maybe even next season. All right, Kirk Cousins, even though he was first in the league in touchdowns, we did not get a dev trait, and he's regressed a lot. 5 deep accuracy gone, 4 mid, 5 awareness, 5 short accuracy, only 1 throw power. But goddamn, man, it's harsh. All right, we got a weird free agency period. One thing would be like, is it any stretch? Could Greg Rousseau be a 3-4 defensive end? Probably not. But I mean, if he gained 10 pounds, 6'6", 276, it's believable. That's just... He is technically a scheme fit. I'm making the argument there. He is technically a scheme fit. So we'll throw... we're not even that close. It'd be a good get. If not, I'm looking at Zach Tom, because we let McGarry walk at right tackle. So he'd be easy to come in and plug and play 27.82. I got Terrell Bernard on a 3-year deal to play with Landman in the middle of the defense. And Rousseau obviously would be the big get there if we can land him. And we end up actually getting Rousseau. I'll tell you, if he wasn't a scheme fit, I'd be like, no. But if you are a scheme fit, I guess we're going to go with an undersized defensive end, which is cool. So we missed out on the middle linebacker. We'll go into this year's draft. Probably needing a linebacker. You never want to go in the first round, but you can usually get a money linebacker 2nd or 3rd round. So that's what we'll do. 1st round pick, as far as that's concerned. I wouldn't rule out quarterback if there's a juicy QB. We're probably not picking high enough for that spot. And obviously, we still have the development of Joe Milton, who hasn't lost his star dev yet, sitting behind Kirk Cousins. So, might be BPA in the 1st round. And maybe BPA is a middle linebacker. Draft time. Got a couple targets. Not that I'm going to get my hopes up for, just because we pick at a weird spot at 24, where when you pick in the 20s, when you pick as like a playoff team, it's foolish to assume that the studs that you found that are like round 1 projecting are still going to be there, and that is very much looking like the role that we got, as I did scout. I will say we scouted Kerry Harrell because he had AB for tackling power move, and he looks like ass, so that's great investment of that selection. Philip Moore looks for a 3-4 DN, as we're always trying to, retool that. A block shed, B power, A tackle, elite strength, great acceleration. Not bad for a 2nd, 3rd rounder. Also did a lot of scouting here on the D-line. We got Luke Benjamin out of Alabama. 6'2", 296, A power, B finesse, double C's, great strength. Pretty damn good athlete too, man. First in the 3-cone, 20 yards, sub 540 at almost 300 pounds. That actually looks pretty damn good. Did I scout? I mean, that might be the guy. Linebacker is our other need. And there's not like a first rounder guy. We got a couple guys here. Again, round 3 look pretty decent that we can probably check out. Studs at corner though. Look at this. Carl Townsend. Double A, double B, 6'4". Damn. That's usually a guy I draft right away. Don't even think twice about it. But we got to think about our needs here. Luke Benjamin's the guy. Absolutely, this is the guy. Come on! You are our guy! We did pick corner, just kind of sticking with BPA. Linebackers don't look great. We get the double A on Antoine Carruthers. Could be a nickel corner for us at 5'10" at a Northwestern. Also tested pretty well as elite acceleration. The bench press is up there for strength. Strongest player in the class. Not in love, but goddamn dev trait, man. Can't be wrong. Can't be mad with that. Really, the only linebacker, this is just complete gambling. I'm telling you, man. I'm starting to come to the conclusion. The freak athletes at linebacker are fool's gold. But this guy's as freaky as it gets at linebacker. We do have B tackle. Would love to see if that's a B zone. Again, blind pick. Hoping he's an athlete. There you go. That is probably one of the very few times in Madden 24 I've been able to gamble on a blind athletic linebacker, and they're not going to end up being like a 66 normal. All right, so looking at our draft recap. Very, very happy. Oh, my God. Very happy with the draft poll. We got Luke Benjamin, who is going to go to DN. Now, we have Caleb Banks, who's been playing at DN. He's like a 77 normal dev. We just brought in Greg Rousseau. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we're going to handle it. I don't think that's that big of it. It's a good issue to have. Then Carruthers, 78 hidden dev in the late second round. Insane value. The double A's. Day 1 starter easily. Rob Meredith, hidden dev middle linebacker, 70 with the dev. Feel really good about that. Hell yeah, man. Hell of a draft. All right, everybody. Let's take a look at our roster here. Year 3. Kirk Cousins, even though he led the league in passing touchdowns last year, 72 normal. The good role is Joe Milton, somehow has been a backup for 2 years, has not lost his dev trait. I've been, more often than not, anytime I get a fun hidden dev backup quarterback that's clearly hidden, a backup not going to play, they lose their dev trait right away. So maybe it's a sign that he'll be the successor here. Struggling to get dev traits, though, out of the wide receivers. Mitchell, London, and Mooney still been on star. We got to think about getting a replacement for Jake Matthews, who, much like Kirk Cousins, is a top retirement candidate at the end of this year. So we're going to need a new left tackle and potentially a new quarterback for years 4 and 5 of this rebuild. The defense looking pretty good. We got Greg Rousseau, who's a scheme fit. That's why we're playing him. We're kicking Caleb Banks in to nose tackle, where he's 320 pounds, so he can make that move. And while Grady Jarrett will be part of our rotation, we got to go with the young buck here. Same with Meredith at linebacker, playing with Landman. Jared Verse has been an absolute monster. Bates, we got Phillips, who's finding a new home there at strong safety. Will Johnson, our superstar first-round pick last year. Terrell and Carruthers, who's one of the better second-round picks we've ever drafted, make up a really high upside, really underrated secondary defense it's going to be a lot better, obviously, with the addition of almost a 90 overall defensive end. Very optimistic. Very optimistic. Now, the question, honestly, will just come down at the end of the day, is Kirk Cousins going to have that huge, gigantic, you're an old QB now type drop-off, or is he still just going to say, the rating's just a number. I'm going to ball out. I'm going to get you 40 passing touchdowns. Honestly, I feel like it could fall either way. All right, not ideal. I mean, we're only 2 games back, but we are very much hitting that like, oh no. Top 5 offense year 1, top 5 offense year 2. Here in year 3, Kirk Cousins suffers basically 10 points of regression over the last 2 years. And our offense is, old quarterback. $69 million worth of contracts here. Obviously, Jesse Bates, need to lock him up. Awesome player. Drake London's been a really consistent 1,000-yard receiver, copy-paste every year. I like Clark Phillips to continue his development at safety. Definitely a good home there. We have Bergeron, the Canadian. We'll pay him. That's a lot of money, man. Guards get a lot of money nowadays. Mooney's been, role player. Not bad. I mean, it looks like, Matthews, Grady Jarrett probably going to retire at the end of the year. We'll pick up the 5th-year option. I just think it's probably going to be cheaper at this point to go and get that third wide receiver option in the draft. Get him on a rookie contract. Yep. Drop off is real. Went from first in passing touchdowns to 21st. I guess, is he going to retire is the question here. Hey, there we go. I mean, if he doesn't retire, he's going to be below a 70, right? God damn. I mean, we tried. I honestly thought the Falcons playbook would be a little more OP than what it was. That would carry us a little bit into Kirk's older years. When he had a nice year, he's about to dip in free agency defensively. Love seeing Verse and Rousseau dominate the way they did. Huge year from Greg Rousseau. Interceptions non-existent, especially for the talent we got. Bates 99. Johnson's a superstar. Let's see, Carruthers, we get his dev trait. Second round, superstar corner. 78 superstar corner, and we got him late. Late second round. What a value pick. One of the best value picks we've had in a minute there. And only have what? How many interceptions total? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's brutal. That is borderline unacceptable. I mean, we're not going to have any award winners, I don't think. Bijan does. Oh, hey, shout out Bijan. Wins running back of the year. Cool. Everything else is all doom and gloom. Didn't make the playoffs. Is Kirk Cousins going to retire? That is very much a potential role that we get here. I guess we can look and admire his career stats in case this is the end. Just over 50,000 yards passing, 358 tutties to 153 picks. And as projected at the beginning of this season, Kirk Cousins and Jake Matthews both retire. So it's for sure needing to get a left tackle. That is near the top of our needs list. We also need to replace Darnell Mooney at wide receiver 3. What do we do at quarterback? Is it Joe Milton season? Do we get a good role in free agency? Do we find a stud in the draft that's worth trading up for? Our options are on the table. All right, we get the most memey quarterback free agency role of all time. Here into our year 4 offseason. Baker Mayfield. We got a general just terrible person. Sam Darnold, who you know what? I will say right now, we are going to give a Sam Darnold career revival Vikings rebuild a go. I don't know if we're going to do that or the Russell Wilson Steelers one first. But it will get done. But that is for another time. As far as free agents are concerned, it's pretty light. I'm going to look at Orlando Brown to be our replacement there for Matthews. 80, star dev, just good plug-and-play stopgap guy for 2 years. Don't have to prioritize tackle. But now all eyes go towards the draft. Is there a stud quarterback or is it Joe Milton season? Fully scouted the quarterbacks, and I was like, oh, shit. 3 top 5s? Okay. Nauseating. There's no other way to put it. That is absolutely nauseating. Needing a quarterback, desperate enough that I would empty the tank, draft picks, to go up and get one of these guys was legit. Like, do any of them have at least, like, a cannon of an arm? Elite throw power. Nope. Come on, Franklin. Great. Nope. Okay. Conrad Griffin. See, not bad. Second, third round talent means he's probably going to be, at best, like a 70 hidden dev. All right, Joe Milton season. All right, so going into the draft, we have pick 15. No quarterback is worth trading up for. And the best player I've found is a wide receiver that I think second round projecting. When we need a wide receiver, it's just I can't. It's this guy. Fonzo Isaac. Is he going to be available at pick 15 of the second round? The answer is probably. But it's like, what do I do with this pick? Do I trade it for a future pick and then next year we have more? I mean, let's see if we can actually get. That might be the best course of action. Is see if I can flip this first for a future first. 2028 first rounder. Which we can get from the Bills. A first and a second rounder from the Vikings next year. Ooh. That Raid. Now I'm trying to think who's gonna have the shittier pick. Raiders, Vikings. I'll take this one from the Raiders. We get a first and second next year, which again, it's all just if Milton doesn't work out, there's no free agency. We just straight up say fuck it. We're gonna go for the top quarterback. Do what it takes. So do that and grab that wide receiver in the second round, and I think we'll be happy with it. No, he's going to be available. I'm gambling he's going to be there. I didn't even just go pick by pick, see if there's a run on wideouts. He's going to be there. He's got to be there. There were so many wide receivers ahead of him. He is still there. I mean, easily identifiable. He was 6'4", 216. I saw he had A, catching traffic, B, catching. I was like, all right, that looks pretty good. Oh, he runs a 4.49. That's not the best. But he, letter grade, physical, base rate. You know, usually these are tricky players. I'll say that. There's a shot this guy, I'm going to say 76 normal. But I think he's probably the best wide receiver on the board. So let us to fully scout him to get a first-round talent. And yeah, we're not getting a ridiculous asking, but hell yeah, man. That dev trait is a good roll. It's not common. Especially a guy that's a little bit disappointing on the combine numbers. They tend to be higher rating, no dev trait. Maybe this will be inverse. Maybe this is dev trait and he's like a 70. All right, so look at the draft. 75 hidden dev. I mean, man, if we would have got him in the third round, that might have even aged better. I mean, you know, the rare, usually again, to pile on to the thing that goes through your mind on a pick like this is the great letter grades. Why? That's what makes wide receiver such a difficult position to draft in Madden, because so many times you can throw out the letter grades if you're getting a great athlete. But every now and again, the letter grades won't lie to you. So if you are, I mean, wide receiver is a big need for us. It was quarterback and wide receiver, so I was just scouting the best letter grades. That's all I had for blind picks, because usually you can just let the athletes speak for themselves. And we hit on this one, but I would say take away from this selection that it's still a risk to trust letter grades over athletic ability. And that's still saying that, you know, for his size at 6'4", 215, 90 speed, 92 jumping, that's still pretty damn athletic. He's just not like a 4'3" guy. Second round, we're able to get Landon Fan, hidden dev tackle from Penn State, just a developmental guy behind Zeus in Orlando Brown. And we got Princeton Simpson out of LSU, hidden dev speedster. 95 acceleration, 91 speed, 90 agility, kind of a gadget player. But I'll take 3 hidden devs, especially this late. On top of the fact, we got 2 first-rounders next year. Let's get an early look here at the quarterbacks. All right, at least the top player generated immediately at the beginning is a quarterback, Jack Steele out of Fresno State. However, it's looking a little... I mean, there's a chance McDougal, 6'6", 231. I bet you he has a chance to get an elite throw power, which he does. What about Jack Steele? Elite throw power? I mean, fuck. I mean, it takes the guesswork out of it. If it doesn't work out with Joe Milton, and I'm gonna, we can't just look beyond that. Joe Milton, 99 throw power, big time athlete. Maybe that's what we need in this offense. But if not, one of these guys might have to be our Super Bowl or bust type quarterback. Luckily, through training camp, we get to get 2 upgrade points here for Joel Milton, getting a gold medal in our training. You know, it's gonna be one of those deals too, man, where like he's gonna be probably as good next year as any rookie we're gonna get. And as any rookie we're going to get have 99 throw power and that kind of athletic. Like, I honestly am going to go with the idea that we're just going to have 2 first-round picks to maybe get a BPA. Maybe that's not a quarterback. Maybe we get a guy that's like an 80 edge rusher, 80 linebacker, 80 wide receiver, whatever. And we go with Joe. I hope it works out for Joe Milton. I hope there's still the Kirk Cousins tutelage, because he had that mentorship tag. He's going to get the best out of Joe Milton, and he's going to be the answer here in Atlanta. A little midway point. Hey, 4-2. Ain't bad. Ain't bad. One day a bit. Beat the Eagles. Seattle now should focus. I mean, maybe we pivot off the quarterback. If I just, you know, unless you see a guy that's if we 100% scout the top 2 QBs, at least we'll know whether or not they're top 5 prospect, go get them, or they end up like last year where they're not even first round talents, and we know to move off and then just try to blind pick the next best available players. I think that's our best course action. We have $28 million remaining, so we are going to pay, obviously, Bijan Robinson, who has carried the load offensively for this team. Oh, no. We're going to commit, obviously, here to Joe Milton. Unfortunately, we'll wait to the first, I think we'll get enough of a salary cap bump at the end of the year that we can offer Adonai Mitchell a contract and pick up the 5th-year option of Will Johnson. Might not be able to make a big needle-moving type free agency signing with this. Why is our salary cap so bad? Oh, yeah, Joe Milton. We beat the Cowboys week 18 by 1 point. Hell freaking yeah. Joe Milton and his top 3 offense. Still going to probably spend, what, 1 or 2 upgrade points. What a beast Joe Milton is. Got +2 morale. We're obviously going to keep it on point. Joe Milton is absolutely a strong arm archetype. It'd be foolish to assume he'd be anything else. But one of the best in terms of arm talent we've seen in a minute. In terms of cannon of arms. He is thriving here in Atlanta. Getting this team. Who needs Kirk Cousins? We had Joe Milton. And we said right away, we drafted Joe Milton so we could sit behind Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has the mentorship tag. It's the best of both worlds. And he comes in and does the damn thing. Bijan Robinson, second leading rusher. What is that, top 5 in touchdowns for Milton? Almost top 5. So I think it's fair to say, played like a top 10 quarterback. We get a little bit more scrambling out of him. Huge year from Bijan, 16 and 13. No 1,000-yard receiver, but it's a healthy room. And there's no dev traits really to be lost. Donnie Mitchell, star dev, Kyle Pitts, X Factor. That's good enough to keep it as a tight end. Almost 800 yards, 11 touchdowns. That's good enough not to lose the dev trait. Isaac, our second-round pick. We'll spend some points here. We'll go playmaker. Make him. I mean, he is also 6'4", so he is. You know, it fits the trend of Atlanta Falcon wide receivers. They pretty much want to be like a glorified basketball team out there. So we stayed on brand in the wide receiver room. And here's Billy. Let's go! Superstar dev Alfonso Isaac. That means we've drafted 2 superstar players. 3 if you count Will Johnson, even though that's a custom draft class. But we have absolutely hit on our draft picks here. Jared Verse, double-digit sacks. Unfortunate to see kind of the production of Rousseau fall off the map. But, you know, still respectable numbers. But it's all about Joe Milton here. Is he going to be the guy that can lead this Falcon team? Alfonso Isaac does win Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's already on a superstar. That could be interesting when all is said and done. Bijan Robinson, running back of the year. Yet again. Oh, God damn, man. I love that. Superstar dev wide receiver. Maybe that's helped elevating the play a little bit. Also, we got a below. Let's auto upgrade our players here. Make sure our team is full strength. Got a couple points here across the board that we feel pretty good about. We're playing a below 500, 8-9 Arizona Cardinal team that has. They're not really good at anything. This is a layup. To at least get the first win. Wet the whistle of the Falcons, which we do 32-31, a 1-point victory in which Greg Rousseau, we just kind of roasted a little bit for not having the best of season, comes up big with a 3-sack performance. In the division round, we were taking on the Detroit Lions, who are very good. I tell you right now, they don't have Aiden Hutchinson. He was a big free agency, but they still, the year after losing Aiden Hutchinson, have the #1 defense in the NFL going up against our top 3 offense. Concerned a little bit, but I think we can get the job done here. As long as we can contain Amon-Ra St. Brown, don't let the run game take over. Oh, damn it. Well, at least we got a win in the playoffs, and it shifts all to a Super Bowl or bust. Quinn Ewers is doing the thing there, pulling the strings for the Detroit Lions. Meredith, their starting middle linebacker, did get Player of the Week, which is cool for him. Even though he lost his freaking hidden dev last year, which is, I think, a little too harsh if you're asking me. But, all right. Super Bowl or bust time. Atlanta, figure it out. Look at that. We got a gigantic influx in salary cap, so we should be able to re-sign Adonai Mitchell. I mean, maybe we let him at the open market just in case there's a bigger, badder wide receiver that we could potentially go out and grab. But I'm very happy that we're at least going to be able to attempt to be aggressive to try to get this 91 overall team over the hump year 5. All right, so now we got $32 million of salary cap. I mean, we could try Mitchell with a reasonable, but he wants to bounce. It's fine. Look elsewhere. Looking at our roster, knowing that we have 2 first-round picks, where do we need to move? I mean, honestly, we're probably good at wide receiver with Mitchell leaving, right? Offensive line is solid to good. 99 X Factor in Pitts. We got weapons if we're committing with Joe Milton. You look at the defense, you know, get a game changer at linebacker, game changer at safety. 2 superstars, an X Factor. I mean, I don't know. Like, it is not a good free. I mean, again, like, there's what? A marginal upgrade there if we brought in Van Der Esch. There's just nothing. There's nothing here at all. I'm good. Not wasting money. Out of principle, I'm not wasting money. Again, back just And I got nothing. Quarterbacks suck. I don't see a wide receiver that was even worth focus scouting. You look here, you know, maybe there's some good linemen. We feel pretty comfortable with our offensive line. I'm not seeing a guy that's, holy shit, that's an X factor on the defensive side of the ball. You make the argument that linebacker could be like the one spot we want to go make a big time upgrade. There's not even like a first round linebacker that is worth going to get. Maybe, you know, Dent here at corner looks decent. 3 Bs and an A. But we got 2 superstars. I mean, our secondary is on point. I honestly think right now we go with all of our draft assets and see if we can steal away a veteran from a team here. I don't know even what that market looks like. All right, well, we have pick 4 in the first round. I'm going to hold on to that. I was able to send our first round pick in 2 seconds to get J.O.K. Owosu Koromoa from the Arizona Cardinals. Now, this is just bad roster management from the Cardinals. I was looking around just seeing what teams were interested. They drafted Anthony Hill, who's an 81 star dev linebacker, the exact same position. So we really were taking advantage of them there a little bit. So we're going to hold on to that top 5 pick. We paid a compensation that even for like a starting linebacker is insane. No one's giving up a first in 2 seconds for a 28-year-old linebacker that's paid, very overpaid for obviously limited production. But for our team, it's the last hole that we have on our roster is getting like a game changer to operate the middle of the defense. So we feel pretty good about that. You know, we'll go splash our top 5 pick, which is 4th overall, and hopefully get another guy that can come in and contribute. And I think if we're looking at needs, where can a top 5 pick come in for this squad? We know wide receiver 3. You could look on the offensive line at tackle. I mean, it's going to be really tough. Even the best tackles as rookies aren't that great out the gate. D tackle, if there's a juicy one there. Maybe a pass rusher. I don't know. We'll see. All right, 4th pick overall. Man, that Dent guy is definitely the best player we got available. We don't need a corner. There's no wide receivers worth drafting at this spot. You look at the offensive line. A pass block's not a bad roll. Man, the double A's here tackle. A impact, A run block, Elijah Booth. Well, he says there's no way he's going to be better than Zeus, Orlando Brown right now. Like, he's going to be, at best, he could be hidden dev, he could be superstar. But he's probably going to be like 76. Are we going to want to play that over Orlando Brown? Probably not. So then you look at DN. Can we get an upgrade over Arnold Ebiketie? We have Evan Clark. A pursuit, B tackle, speed rusher, elite acceleration, elite speed, 4.53, A finesse, A pursuit. That actually looks damn good. Let's do it. Fuck. Man, what a whiff. Oh, I mean, 75 is not brutal, but 75, no, I got to hold myself to a higher standard. Even though you can throw JOK, we got a 90 star dev linebacker as well in the first round. Damn, man. Honestly, I think we're going to look at the big picture. Shitty draft class. First quarterbacks, Jack Steele, 71, hidden dev. So this is one of the quarterbacks we passed on. Don't be X Factor. That'd be lame. I bet you it's star. Yep. Booth, the tackle we were talking about, looks 74. So there's no way, even with the dev trade, there's no way he would have seen the field. Would have been a bad pick. Dent, who was the top player available. We said it. We just didn't need him at corner. 79. Maybe I should have just drafted him to hold my head held high. I feel like drafting a good player that we know is a good player, even though it's not a position of need, still would feel better than trying to like take a swing on maybe more position need and getting a wet fart of a pick. But what a bullshit draft class, man. Highest overall is probably this guy, guard. Huffman. 80 guard. That's pretty damn good. Even, I'm thinking about this. Obviously, I can see it from our Cardinals jersey there for our Cardinals main. I'd take an 80 guard. 80 superstar guard. Generational guard. That's pretty badass. But what a bullshit draft class, man. Happy that we were able to trade some of our assets to get a proven player like JOK. I'm worried. I mean, technically, on the official scoreboard, we've already done a Falcons realistic rebuild where we traded for Justin Fields who won a Super Bowl. So we're kind of playing with house money. But this is, don't let the 90 overall rating fool you. I'm worried. This team is, I don't think they're Super Bowl ready, but I've been surprised. Joe Milton, the franchise, 78 star dev, cannon arm. Got other pieces in place, right? Bijan Robinson carry the load. We've been getting double-digit touchdowns consistently from Kyle Pitts. We got a freaking superstar wide receiver that might be able to step up. The O-line is solid. No weaknesses. Defense, Jared Verse is a machine. Jesse Bates has been great. We got the addition of JOK. Could transition this defense. Greg Rousseau, a little cold last year, but his first year on the team was insane. We got two superstars out in corner on top of 95 AJ Terrell. The talent is there for this team to go on a deep run, but is Joe Milton really the guy that's going to get us a Super Bowl? I'm worried. Out of all rebuilds, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This would be our 14th rebuild. Probably the least confident I've been is right now out of all 14. All right, just because we're all in this one here together, midway point, we're just there's not much we can do. Just sim. I want to sim. We're 3-4, so we're very much on the cusp of either going on a playoff run, because no one's running away with the division. Still a competitive division, only a game back. Also, this team could, 6-8. Be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. We'll do it here live. We'll do it live. Let's see what happens. You know what though? I will say this. This was done because of Kirk Cousins, and Kirk Cousins failed to do the mission of winning us the Super Bowl. And you know what? We've only lost one realistic rebuild since we've been doing them. You need the L's. You can't win them all. Because you got to make it so when you win one, it feels a little better because you know what it feels like to lose. That is very much the copium that I can apply right now, is we don't even make the fucking play. You got to lose a couple. You got to waste an hour here or there to sometimes appreciate the hours that were great. We just were not good enough. And you know what? It's on me, because this is a good fucking sim playbook. Falcons are generally a team that you feel very comfortable with regardless of what your quarterback situation is. Same way that I'm feeling confident when we do a career revival with Sam Darnold in Minnesota. That is going to work out because Minnesota's so damn good in the sim. Everything's in place as long as we do the work. And for whatever reason, couldn't get it done, man. Couldn't get that consistency here with the Falcons. Obviously, Kirk Cousins retiring. Never got a good role in free agency. That is something that definitely hurt this rebuild. Never had like that layup free agency. That's the guy we need. Never had that big quarterback hit the open market. Never had that exciting, Greg Rousseau is good for what it is, but never had that like, whoa, that is a guy that's going to transform the defense type signing available, even though we've had the money that we could, shift and bring him in. Again, you need the L's. You need the L's to appreciate the wins. It sucks. But Falcon fans, I did a rebuild a couple of weeks ago. We won the Super Bowl. Go check that out if you haven't. This is your first time stopping by. With Justin Fields, not with Kirk Cousins. Let's look at the career stats here, what these guys have accomplished within this rebuild. Joe Milton, hey, the future is still bright for Joe Milton. Fun user quarterback, 99 throw power. Developing as a passer, 64 touchdowns, 25 picks. Not bad at all. 8,700 yards, 70 touchdowns for Bijan Robinson over 5 years. We got 6,700 yards, 38 tutties for Drake London, 6,500 yards, 53 tutties for Kyle Pitts, who was great. He was great in this rebuild. Sometimes you don't get great production of your tight ends. Very much not the case. Kyle Pitts got the goddamn job done. We drafted superstars. We drafted well. Jesse Bates finishes just under 1,000 tackles. We got 75.5 sacks for Rousseau, obviously splitting time with us in the Buffalo Bills. 52.5 sacks for Jared Verse, who was an absolute machine in this rebuild. 1 year away from joining the 99 club. What a stud. Remember, we made that decision. Do we go Malik Neighbors? Do we go Jared Verse? And we made the right call, I think, when all is said and done. Did we? Is that where this thing went wrong? We should have just went all in on offense. Someone like Malik Neighbors, superstar type wide receiver. Maybe that's what didn't, the missing piece from Kirk Cousins being able to bring us to a Super Bowl. Maybe the missing piece from Joe Milton. I don't know. I feel like we have a pretty good wide receiver room. I don't think that was the reason, but it is what it is, fellas. So, with that being said, we pivot to the next rebuild. My plan is tomorrow to have, so what day? Today's Tuesday. So tomorrow's Wednesday. My plan is to have Cardinals tomorrow. Thursday, we'll have, I don't know, it's March break with my kids. So Thursday, I think I'm going to the arcade. So Thursday might not be any videos. I'll work on something. Friday, Honey Hunters. Saturday will be another rebuild. Do you guys want to see the two that I'm pivoting? Obviously, it's a career revival, Sam Darnold in Minnesota, or do we go see what Russell Wilson can do with the cheesy playbook now in Pittsburgh? Cheesy playbook. It's the Falcons playbook. Usually it's really good. Maybe it won't be as good. But Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh, option one. Sam Darnold revival in Minnesota. Option 2. Comment down below which one of those rebuilds you guys want to see next. Or on top of that, any other rebuilds based off of the moves in free agency. We just saw today, Derrick Henry gone to the Ravens. Speaking of the Russell Wilson Steelers, Patrick Queen going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That could be another fun get for that team. So very interested what you guys want to see, but more importantly, comment Vikings or Steelers rebuild for the one that's coming up on the weekend. That'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Woo! Just getting this one in before I can go watch Arsenal hopefully kick the living shit out of Porto in the Champions League. Fuck Portugal. Have a good one. Peace. I love you.